Paul Rappaport was a veteran CBS Records executive whose career in the music industry spanned decades, bridging the worlds of artistry and commerce. As the senior VP of CBS Records and working closely as an A&R rep, Rappaport worked very closely with some of music's most iconic names. And in the golden era of vinyl, known for his keen ear and behind-the-scenes savvy, Rappaport just wrote about his escapades in a new memoir titled Gliders Over Hollywood. The book offers an insider's look at the record biz, filled with pretty cool anecdotes, quirky encounters, and the kind of wisdom only a seasoned music man can deliver. Whether working the phones to push a single or navigating the egos of rising stars, Paul Rappaport was one of the industry's unsung heroes, a passionate record man with a lot of stories to tell, and now he's finally letting you know all about them. Rappaport played a pivotal role during Bob Dylan's later years. He worked closely with Bruce Springsteen. He worked with Pink Floyd and Roger Waters, juggling the new solo artists and the classic band led by David Gilmour. The book tells about his tours with the Rolling Stones. It talks about promoting Billy Joel at a pivotal point in his career. He was part of the grunge era with Alice in Chains. In the book, there are memorable moments with Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden, and he worked closely with Journey. Rappaport's memoirs, Gliders Over Hollywood, offers an in-depth, sometimes very funny, always entertaining look at the world of rock promotion. I talked to Buck Dharma, talked to the Bouchard brothers multiple times. Were you involved in Agents of Fortune and Don't Fear the Reaper?
Big time. Yeah. In fact, I got a wonderful quote on the back of my book from Buck. My story, believe it or not, is I jump-started their career. I'm sort of responsible for their beginning because I had I was local promotion at the time in LA, and a lot of records would come to us without a marketing plan. Like we were putting out so many records that here would be your priorities, and there'd be a bunch of other records. You just listen to them. Well, I heard the first Blue Oyster Cult record and went, "Whoa, who are these guys? Like these guys are great." I didn't get any message from New York, but at that time, you were allowed to work on your own. If you could make something happen, they liked it. Well, I love this record. And again, you talk to this radio station, KNAC, in Long Beach. He was a guitar player, the guy who ran KNAC, a guy named Ron McCoy. I knew I couldn't get it played right away because it's very different kind of music. I went to Ron, I go, you got to listen to this. He goes, yeah, this is really good. So Ron adds a couple tracks from the first Blue Oyster Cult album. I actually believe that the most important thing we do as human beings is hopefully treat each other well. I mean, I actually believe that at my age, what I've finally realized, all of this stuff, well, we just do stuff. But the bottom line, I think, is really how we treat each other. Like that's the magic. That's the greatness of being a human being. How do you treat another human being? Not to digress from this story, but
I get that in the book, by the way.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I don't remember if it was in a book that I read or if it was in a movie, but I remember in the Camelot story, and King Arthur invites Sir Lancelot, and he shows him the round table. And he says, look, this is a round table. All of us are equal. And then he says, by serving one another, that's how we become great. And that always stuck in my head, like by serving one another, that's what makes us great. Whoa. Anyway. So anyway, he starts playing it. Then the people who, Sandy Perlman, who was one of their managers, he went on to be their sole manager, but him and a guy named Murray Krugman put out an EP of the band live, and it was smoking. And then I took the EP to, I said, you got to hear this. You think this is, because you record an album, but then as you play, you get better. I said, you got to hear this. He started playing the heck out of that. Next thing, we're starting to sell Blue Oyster Cult records in the area. So that I thought, what we need now is we need to bring them, to play live. And I thought, well, maybe we'll get them an opening slot, or we'll put them in a club or whatever. But I went to the radio station, which was owned by a husband and wife. It was a family-owned radio station. Mm-hmm. I said, you want to know something? Ron's been breaking this record. We're selling records. Why don't you be the promoter? You make the money. Why I give this, I know these guys that run the local, the promoters, but you know what? You should be the promoter and you make the money. And they like that idea. Um, and then I thought, oh, actually, this is actually be a really good idea because if they promote the show, then they're going to talk more about Blue Oyster Cult because they have to sell tickets. So I thought they're going to get a club, right? They rented the Long Beach Arena, like 12,000 seats. And they made such a big deal on this radio station. Blue Oyster Cult debut. They played this record to death. They played the bootleg to death. They played Bucks Boogie, like it's a live version of Bucks Boogie.
Yeah.
And the band comes, and we all knew we wouldn't sell out, but we knew we would sell a lot. I think they might have sold 8,000 tickets to this show. And this band shows up, and they were so good, they could hold an arena at that time. This is early on in their career. They were so good, they could hold an arena audience. They had the stage presence. Buck Darm was one of the one of the greatest guitar players ever, sort of unsung because he's a
Yes.
part of a bigger, ensemble. But if you ever go see Blue Oyster Cult, I mean, unbelievable. Eric Bloom, great frontman. So they could hold the arena. So what happened was, at the same time, I thought, well, if they're flying the band to California to do Long Beach, I should do another show in San Diego because the band's going to be in California. So we did a big show in Long Beach, and because I have a big imagination, I wanted a bat signal. I wanted the logo, the Blue Oyster Cult logo, the upside down question mark. I wanted to shine it, on the arena. If you read this part of the book, you'll read about how it got done. I won't bore you with it, but in those days we didn't have the kind of projectors they have today. I had to do it in a certain way, and anyway, it worked. It was this giant bat signal of BOC. It became this huge thing, and then we went to San Diego and we did two sold out shows there, and I had the radio station down there playing the record as well. So what happened to them was because of all this, their career started to explode, and all across the country, um, promoters were like, "Oh, we've heard about what just happened in California," so they started to book them. Not they escaped the club thing. They went right to theaters because the word got out, that this was a happening band, and so they're very good friends of mine for a lot of years, because I was sort of like their guy in the beginning. So when Agents of Fortune happens with the Reaper, right? They're already established.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really got to do something special for this album. So I go back to KNAC, and the band was into laser technology then. That the Who and Blue Oyster Cult were all using lasers, in their shows. And BOC had a laser tunnel. They had a laser that went here and here, and it fanned out, and then they morphed it into a tunnel. And so you, as in the crowd, were inside this laser tunnel. And they did that for about a year until the government shut them down because they were worried that anybody who was sitting down, the beam were hitting you in the eye, anybody who was on the lower part of the tunnel. So I decided I needed to do something really special for these guys. We had become friends, really good guys, as you know, if you're talking to them.
Yeah.
And they actually gave me a guitar as a present, a thank you present. How's this? They gave me a vintage Les Paul Jr., 1962 vintage Les Paul Jr. Hey, thanks for everything. Like,
Wow.
that's because they're those kind of guys. So I'm thinking, what do I got to do? I was looking at the news. I saw there was uh, uh, a laboratory in the San Fernando Valley that had invented an argon laser cannon. It shot for 30 miles, right in the sky. God, if I could get a hold of that, I could freak a lot of people out. So I called them up and said, "Hey, can you rent that?" And they were happy because they thought, "Oh, this will be good for us because it will,
Yeah.
it's good, for our invention. It'll be exposure for our invention." So I went down to KNAC. There was a different program director then now, and I said, "Okay, look, here's the deal. I got this thing. It shoots for 30 miles in the sky. It will shoot from Long Beach to Pasadena. It will shoot across Whittier. It'll go Garden Grove. I mean, you're talking 30 miles because it's a laser. It's as bright at the end as it is in the beginning. right? Thing looks like a death ray, like from War of the Worlds. So I said, okay, the guy's name was Paul Sullivan. I said, here's the deal. Got this new record. It's great. Where do you hear this song, The Reaper? It's got all these other great songs. You put the record on. We're going to do a light show for the cities of Long Beach, Pasadena. It's going to be anybody could just lay down on their front lawn and, drink beer and smoke dope, whatever they want to do. And the light's going to shoot across the sky. So he loved it. And I had to call the Long Beach airport to let them know I was doing it. So they knew, because a 747 could think it's the beam that they're supposed to land on. Because you never see anything like this in your life. There's a picture of it in the book. It doesn't really do it justice, but you'll get the idea. There's a picture in the book of this freaking beam. And so we go on top of Signal Hill. It's the biggest hill in Los Angeles. And the whole story's in there about how it happened, and it had to be water cooled and all this stuff. But we shoot this freaking thing off a mountainside, right? And if you knew what it was, if you're having listened to the station, you just laying on your front lawn, you're having a light show, you're listening to Blue Oyster Cult, speakers, and you're watching this light dude dances, But if you don't know what it is, you're scared to freaking death.
War of the Worlds.
It looks like that's what it looks like. It looks like War of the Worlds. It's fucking thing. This freaking lights like shooting in the sky and it's pulsing like it's looking for somebody. And it like people were freaked. Like it was like Orson Welles freaked, right? So mission accomplished. We're on the evening news. Everybody knows there's a Blue Oyster Cult record. You know, job done. So
what was the impetus for you to start writing this book? I mean, you obviously have a lot of stories. Doesn't mean you have to write them, but some people have that urge, like a diary, to reread their diary. What was the impetus for you to write the book?
I was blessed to have this life in the music business and work for a huge record company. And because they were so big, the company was so big, we had all of these artists, Columbia and Warner's were the two big companies. Our roster is huge, and I'm, pretty good-natured fellow, and I'm a storyteller. I think I got that from my dad. I love telling stories. If you've read the book or part of the book, I mean, you can't make this shit up. It's like this is really how it was, and but I'm always telling stories about it to people, and it occurred to me that as time was passing by, this is going to fade away unless somebody sort of writes, hey, look, just so you know, this is how this was. Now there's a lot of music books, right? But they're all from perspectives of an artist, so you get their world, right? Or a record producer, you get their world. But no one ever sort of tried to run the gamut. It's like here's the beginning. Here's how rock star. Here's FM rock radio. Here's how this goes. What is it like to work in a record company? What is it like for the salesman? What is it like for this? Who are the radio people? What are their personalities like? And I just wanted to just try to cover it all. I just wanted to share the stories because I'd been sharing them verbally just with people over the years. And if you read the book, it's just fun stuff. It's pretty funny. Most of it. I wanted people to have fun like I had fun. Like I wanted to share, like, hey, this was, and not all of it was fun. I mean, I've had some down times as people would. I mean, it's a lot of pressure, in the music business. I mean, at Columbia, we had a high standard, right? All the records got to go to number one. Number two isn't good enough. It's an art form to finesse a record to number one. They just don't happen to be number one on their own. It's, you work towards that. So they were so big. I just didn't want them to be forgotten. And I thought, well, I could put all this together and just share all this with everybody, hopefully in an entertaining fashion. So if I could write it like you're there, I want you to have fun like I had fun. So I want to put you in the room. You're going to talk to Mick Jagger. You're going to talk to Keith Richards. You're going to talk to Tony Bennett. That's what I wanted to do. And it just kept gnawing at me over the years. Like, you really should write this book. You really should write this book. I am not a natural writer. I learned how to write because I wrote a blog for 10 years. And I learned I got a voice. Like you eventually have a voice. So I think when I got my voice as a writer in the blogs started to actually be good. Like, hey, this is good writing, and writing is like rewriting and then rewriting and then editing and, all of this reworking, to make it good. I think I started to write when I had that tool. It was like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I could do this now because I know how to write now. I couldn't do it before, but I don't think I need a ghostwriter. I think I could do this now because I found my voice. And then about 6 years ago, I told my partner, who has it's a promotion company for classic rock music. It was funny. I was doing production, TV production and radio production. She said, "Do you want to do promotion again?" And I kind of did it, And she said, "Well, you'll meet some of the same characters that you worked with years ago." So it was fun, because that's what we did. It was like I did Journey's whole career, and now all of a sudden I'm working with them again. And Neil Sean's on the phone going, "Rap." My nickname's Rap because my last name's Rap. "Rap, is that you?" I'm on the phone and go, "Yeah, Neil, how you doing?" "Oh my God!" It's like, so that was fun. But and so I wrote a blog for this website, it's Classics du Jour website, and I wrote a blog for 10 years. And then 6 years ago, I said, "Look, I've been thinking about writing this book, and I think I have to write it. Like, I'm getting called from somebody up there, like, you got to write this book." And I told her I have to leave the day job because this is a job. If you want to write a good book, right? You can't like at night part-time do this. This is like you get up, you have a couple cups of coffee, and you write, and then you rewrite, and then you throw it out and you start over. It's like this is like 6 years of writing, 3 editors. If you want to make it good, I mean, you're getting down to like every sentence, every word. This word's not the right word. It doesn't say it right. Like, there's people you meet in this book that you would never know. Like, who's going to know the songwriter, producer / manager of Blue Oyster Cult, Sandy Pearlman, who's mad as a hatter in the most wonderful ways. I didn't want Sandy to be forgotten. I didn't want Herbie Herbert to be forgotten. The manager of Journey. What a character.
Yeah.
Guy gets on a Yiddish kick, right? Sends Yiddish for Dummies books to the whole industry because he's speaking Yiddish.
Yeah.
Like, here's, he's not even Jewish. It's like, fine, okay, it's cute. He calls up on a Thursday. We have to decide a Journey single. It's timely. You're selling 50,000 records a week. Singles have to come out at a certain time. He's got to keep momentum going. Timely conversation. He calls me up. "Hey, Rap, was machst du?" He's talking to me in Yiddish. This is the manager of one of the biggest bands in the world. It's, worldwide, selling gazillions of albums. I'm like, "Herbie, this is really cute. We have to discuss the single now. We have to figure out what it is today. I've got some ideas." He keeps talking Yiddish. He says, he stops. He goes, "Rap, what the F? A nice Jewish boy like you can't learn a little Yiddish?" I'm like, "Herbie, I get it. It's cute. It's great. But this is a timely conversation. We're selling 50,000 albums a week. You and I have to decide this single now." He goes, "I know. Learn your Yiddish and call me back." Click. Okay, this is rock and roll business in the 80s. It's how life was. It's how the whole business was. It was a big, it wasn't just all about the money. The money came, because of the art that we were doing, the things we were doing. People were characters. You got credit for being a character. I was a character. He was a character. But just to show you, yeah, so guess what I did? I learned 2 lines of Yiddish to call him back so I could discuss the single, so we could put the single out, so we could sell 50,000 more records. This is the music business of the 70s and the 80s. And I just wanted to capture that in a book because no one would believe it. Like, this is like bananas.